Hey, Alex, can you hear us? You may need to unmute and turn on the video, but we have you.
Here we go. Yes. Oh, can I even have this with visual effect? No, I can't. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm in my children's room because there's too much noise downstairs. Okay, do I have to upload here the presentation?
There is an option. You can share a screen. You can upload PDF or Google Slides. It's on the plus button on the bottom. In the meantime,
Okay, I have Google Slides, so that should work.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll try to upload it. In the meantime, I'm happy to introduce Dr. Alex Norta from Finland, IEEE Blockchain Group, an entrepreneur, a scientist. And Alex, thanks for joining us. Whenever you're ready, feel free to take the stage.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm trying to make the screen share work. Allow. Okay, so for convenience, I share the entire screen. Do you see that?
Yeah, I'm moving it to the main stage.
Okay.
And
okay, can you see that? Hello.
Yeah, you're good to go.
Okay. So I don't see the audience, but never mind. As long as you see the slides, that's fine. I believe, okay, I think half an hour or so. I will try to be faster than that. So my name is Alex Norta. I'm now a researcher. I was once upon a time an associate professor. Taltech, I'm still associated to Tallinn University, Tallinna Ülikool. As a researcher, I'm also a senior researcher. No, sorry, an affiliated researcher or research associate, I think, at the Department of Informatics, University of Pretoria. And I'm the chair of IEEE Blockchain Finland. And I want to present something today that's coming from a published paper, actually, where Stefan Kras was a co-author. You see him here. The lead author is my former PhD student, Chipusoro Dokwo, who works now in the Austrian Blockchain Center. Then there's Roxana Voiku, Abiodin Olafayan, Ogoniemi, myself, and Nata Stura. So of those, three. So Chipusoro, Nata, and Stefan are from the Austrian Blockchain Center. Roxana is from the Bucharest University. Abiodun is from Tallinna Ülikool in Estonia. And then there's myself. So this is about something that I think that should be quite relevant in a way for rebuilding the Ukraine in a trustable way. I understand that there's a lot of e-governance automation going on. Also a lot with the help of Estonia, is my understanding, as that is kind of one of the best practice examples in the world for e-governance. And of course, nowadays we have AI entering the picture, also in e-governance. And I think it's very important to have ethical AI applied, for the well-being of society, for a resilient society. Certainly, the Ukraine needs to be a resilient society under all this duress that the country is experiencing. But not only the Ukraine. So my thesis for this presentation is that it's not even possible to have ethical AI without the involvement of blockchain technology, and therefore the title of this presentation, Leveraging Blockchain for Ethical AI, Mitigating Digital Threats and Strengthening Societal Resilience. Yeah. So here's the agenda. I hope, please at some point cut me off if I take too much time. Yeah, here's the agenda and overview. We have an introduction with the motivation and the problem presentation. Since this is from a research paper, we published a journal paper that's been peer-reviewed. I'll give you research objectives and research questions. Then we have a brief part about the methodology we followed. I go into the ethical challenges and blockchain roles. So maybe here the methodology I can be a bit faster. I'll skip over a couple of slides to stay within the timeline. Then the presentation, we had to pick a running case for developing this paper and get it successfully peer-reviewed. So we picked this case of sextortion, which has been a big problem ever since this strange Corona time started in 2020 that I tried to ignore as much as I could, but regardless, we were all locked in for very dubious unconstitutional reasons. And it turned out, since people couldn't meet each other, certainly young people, they did, well, naughty things on the internet, like sending explicit material to each other. And that had tragic consequences in terms of sextortion, which is really a problem that exploded very badly and led even to many suicides, predominantly among young females, but not only young females, males as well, and so on. Yeah. So we developed this framework of blockchain integrated artificial intelligence as a conceptual framework. In this case, for the running use case of sextortion, limited to that this framework. So this can easily project into any other situation of violence and coercion. Whether it's, I don't know, drugs or domestic violence or any, let's say, violence in a workplace and so on. Yeah. So out of that, we've developed the framework components for this framework, where we employ federated learning, data wallet, smart contracts, zero knowledge proofs, which the Austrian Blockchain Center works on now quite a bit. Then there are the benefits, risks, limitations, and policy implications. So this is very interdisciplinary. You have to think about regulatory alignment, and that leads you to ethical AI by design, and that leads us to the conclusion. So since the time is limited, and this is a full-blown journal paper of many, many pages, it's not visible here to me how many pages, but I cannot really do it full justice in the very few minutes I have here. But therefore, here the screenshot. Yeah, you can download this paper and read it. It's open access. And then a little shameless plug with my 11th PhD student who defended under my co-supervision at the University of Torino about model-driven design of decentralized autonomous organizations. We started a company that's incorporated in Tallinn and also in Ras Al Khaimah in the United Arab Emirates for model-driven decentralized system consulting, design basically of DAOs, yeah, and dApps, yeah. And here you see our landing page, and here you see our LinkedIn. So just a shameless plug. But let's get on with the actual presentation. So what's the motivation and the problem? We see an increasing role of AI in society, certainly also in the Ukraine, is my understanding. That leads to many risks of misuse. Yeah, so we see digital threats also that emerge. I mentioned the running case of sextortion, just for the convenience of getting, you know, this paper published, having a use case here, but also any other types of exploitation, disinformation. So that leads to erosions of trust, privacy, and resilience. And we have an urgent need, if we apply AI on a large scale, say for also e-governance, how we deal with the ethical implications, because AI is my provocative thesis here, is inherently unethical at this point. And there's a big need to introduce transparent AI infrastructures that can actually be trusted. Yeah. So to the right is the conceptual map of the ethical ecosystem for AI-based extortion mitigation. So you see here in the center AI for social goods, yeah, that we want to practice. The running case is here sextortion, but it can be any type of digital threats that needs to be rapidly responded to. Around that we have a layer, so it's a bit like an onion, as you see here. We have ethical AI development, digital ethics, and then ultimately societal resilience. Yeah? So the aim here is that we employ blockchain as an enabler for other systems, here in this case AI, to achieve a high degree of societal resilience. And by the way, I'm very happy with the presentations we've heard so far. They're more in the OG spirit, not in the spirit of the crypto bros, whom I'm not so fond of, but I really liked all the previous presentations we've seen so far. And I think societal resilience is something ethical that we can agree upon, that we want to achieve. And here in this paper I present, we try to inject blockchain into AI to establish transparent, trustable, ethical AI. Yeah. So we have here also the lateral factors like that cut through the onion layers here of this model, like economic and social equity and regulatory frameworks. So it's very interdisciplinary, and you need to certainly comply here also to rules. So here a bit to the left at the bottom, if you want to apply AI for social goods, we have factors that we need to pay attention to, and that's what we discovered by studying sextortion cases. Yeah, so these are societal impacts factors like we want to have broad effects and opportunities, that this creates good AI concepts like impact areas, ethical aspects, ethical concerns like biases and privacy that are very badly violated at the moment by AI. Most AI is very weirdly, let's call it woke, maybe, or whatever, strange biases. Privacy is certainly also violated, so this is undesirable. We need to pay attention to frameworks, guidelines, regulations, legal regulations, and then we have here the potential of transformation within society, and there's also this fear that we need to achieve. I mean that people don't adopt, say, AI for social good, yeah, and we lack participation, so we basically fail on adoption. So here for the case of sextortion, but we can take any digital threat that we want to rapidly respond to and mitigate. We want to prevent sextortion, and then we want to tackle all the involved risks up to the victims committing suicides. So the research objectives were that we proposed this conceptual framework of blockchain integrated artificial intelligence for sextortion. Yeah, in this case, integrating blockchain and AI to achieve ethical governance, transparency and accountability, privacy preservation, and build a pathway to social resilience. Let me quickly here go to the CFBA SXT framework. So that's a conceptual framework for integrating blockchain with AI to enhance ethical governance, transparency, and privacy in high-risk AI applications that ensure societal resilience through the mitigation of sexual exploitation. Yeah, but this is really so as future work. It would be very interesting to project these ideas from our journal paper into other digital threats or threat situations, violence that we want to tackle. So the question is then, how can blockchain capacities be integrated with AI to mitigate ethical challenges in sextortion detection, where we focus then on governance, transparency, privacy, to achieve societal resilience as an overarching goal. And the background story here is really that as a thought experiment, I wrote technical reports that's actually uploaded on Arxiv. So if you go to Arxiv and just search for sextortion Norta, you will find this technical report, thought experiment report about blockchain DAO system. Yeah. with agentic AI integrated really for addressing the full life cycle that typically unfolds horribly in sextortion cases. Yeah, so you will find the reference in here in this paper. I'll be a bit fast on the methodology. That's more for the scientific connoisseurs, but we had to satisfy the peer reviewers. Initially, my idea was to write a classical position paper, but that wasn't good enough. So we engaged in systematic literature reviews, flanked with a narrative exploration. Please go to the paper to see all the details. That led to an integration point, and then the assessment of the blockchain suitability in the integration with the AI, and ultimately culminated in the framework development. Yeah. So what are now the ethical challenges in AI, and what is the role of blockchain to mitigate that? So we have, as with most technology, we have dual use. We can use AI both to mitigate but also to enable exploitation. And we have these ethical risks like bias and discrimination. I think that's currently a problem with AI. AI is very, I mean, I'm probing the different AI models and they all just flat out lie to me and have horrible bias, certainly. Yeah, so it's very problematic. Let's put this way, and we should hopefully, I mean, be aware that with the training of at least these large language models, massive privacy violations have been carried out. Yeah, we certainly have a lack of transparency. We don't know what's the reasoning process inside of AI. So there's a bit of a black box model. Yeah, and so there's this term of, what was it? Not explicit AI. Anyhow, the aim is to have an AI where it's actually transparent what the reasoning steps are. Yeah. Yeah, the privacy violations are already alluded to, and we also with AI have abuses in sensitive domains. Yeah. Because of the privacy violations and that absolutely horrifying bias that is currently baked into these AI models. Yeah. So what's the role of blockchain? Of course, we have immutable traceability. We can transparently manage records. Yeah, we have DAOs. Yeah, and I want to refer again to this last PhD thesis I had the honor to be a co-supervisor for with Sovelo Avanzo. He's also involved here in our company. Yeah, so if you go here to about, I think you will find him also in the list, and here on the LinkedIn is the PhD thesis referred to, which is really, I'm very happy with the results. We have smart contracts for the verifiable logics we can apply, and then we can preserve privacy. Certainly very important in sextortion cases where privacy absolutely has to be ensured because of the risks of the victims to even commit suicide. So there we have zero knowledge proofs, homomorphic encryption, and so on. So let's quickly go to the framework. The figure I don't explain anymore. I've done this already. But we have here 3 implementation layers. So on the one hand, we have the technical enablement. Yeah. So that's the AI infused with the blockchain integration. My experience over the years has been that technically everything is very quickly possible. Yeah. But then there's reality with legislation and politics and whatnot as a stumbling block. Yeah, but for our framework, we also want to have governance alignment. So we want to have ethical principles involved in supervised AI, yeah, with DAO oversight, so decentralized autonomous organizations providing oversight. And that oversight needs to be continuous. Yeah, so we need to continuously monitor, audit, have resilience metrics. Actually, preferably also monitor automate this continuous oversight with agentified AI, yeah, but having as an ultimate escalation level human stacked committees involved, yeah. So very quickly to this extortion, I mean, it's a rapid problem. It's a rapidly growing problem. So it's essentially coercion via threats to release intimate content. The cases have exploded ever since the strange COVID years, yeah. But we can use AI as in a role to detect, report, and moderate. However, not with all these bias and privacy violation issues, as it's not possible. So to mitigate all of that and to make actually AI a very powerful tool and even a force for good, like a good weapon to tackle extortion, we can bring in blockchain to ensure integrity of evidence, victim-controlled data wallets, and cross-border and enable cross-border auditability. Yeah, so I mean, ideally, what should be applied here is that we consider federated machine learning for privacy preserving AI training. We have then data wallets included with victim controlled consent for the data sharing, the smart contracts, of course, for ethical enforcement and verifiability, and the CKP to assure confidentiality in sensitive cases. Yeah. So what are then the benefits if we integrate blockchain into AI? The point is we want to have trustable and auditable AI decision making, stronger privacy and consent protection, of course, and resilience against abuse and manipulation through the AI and by the AI, and also cross-institutional governance through DAOs. Yeah? So DAOs are one aspect, but not the only one for having good governance. Yeah. In the AI. Oops, my apologies. Let's go back here to the screen sharing. Okay. Yeah. So, and what are the risks and limitations? So, of course, if we bring in blockchain into AI, so there's from a technical point of view, we have scalability and latency issues, energy usage, yeah. So because blockchains, they're not necessarily terribly fast, and with latencies because of the consensus algos. If we would even use proof of work, then of course we have a lot of energy use. But on the governance side, we need, of course, clear rules and ultimately human oversight. Although I would propose that also the oversight is carried out by AI agents. Yeah. Then there's the legal side. Yeah. So we have very fragmented jurisdictions and enforcement. So if I can be just a little bit Eurocentric for a moment, I mean, there's of course GDPR. And then there are on each national level, there are all sorts of rules. And in some countries, okay, Switzerland is not part of the EU. But for example, if a sextortion victim goes to the police in Switzerland, then and declares that most probably she has been a victim of sextortion, then actually she becomes victimized again because as the laws work in Switzerland, you're not allowed to share explicit material over the internet. And so the already victimized person becomes a victim again because of the bizarre legal conditions. Yeah. So in other countries, this is done. I mean, the regulations are more they make more sense, let's put it this way. But the point is that, say, in Europe alone, you have so many different legal jurisdictions with different specifics that you have to pay attention to. And yeah, and then there's of course the social part. We want to have high adoption and high degree of awareness, but that of course for adoption and awareness, the systems, AI blockchain systems have to be trusted. And I wouldn't trust AI at the moment as it is. I've already alluded to the policy implications. I mean, this is very interdisciplinary. We want to have technical, legal, and ethical alignment, of these domains. They must converge. I already mentioned that we have GDPR, the EU AI Act, of course, and so forgive me for being a bit Eurocentric here, but the equivalents are also present in other countries. And then the sextortion laws, which are extremely fragmented and vary in the definitions, and I would argue are in some cases even nonsensical. And now, since the internet doesn't stop with borders, sextortion cases, they may, reach over many different borders, and then all of these frictions, unharmonized frictions, of course, they have to be taken into account. Yeah, so cross-border enforcement remains quite challenging. So this leads us to policy implications for ethical AI by design. That's what we want to achieve. And again, my thesis is you cannot achieve ethical AI without the use of a blockchain integration in many dimensions. So ethical AI must be embedded from the start to achieve fairness, accountability, explainability, and transparency. For that, we absolutely need blockchain as a governance infrastructure. So on the one hand side, the smart contracts to enforce compliance, and ultimately DAOs, so decentralized autonomous organizations for participatory oversights. And then, we also need to have policy recommendations. So we need to aim for privacy preserving AI with zero knowledge proof at least. We need to mandate audit trails for sensitive AI deployments. Yeah. So in other words, we need to achieve traceability of the AI reasoning steps that should also be locked on chain to be immutably traceable. And we need to encourage ultimately for a high degree of adoption, also the co-creation with NGOs, regulators, and of course, survivors. Yeah. So in conclusion, this conceptual framework for blockchain integrated AI for the use case here of convenience of sextortion, this framework, it's a conceptual foundation for integrating blockchain with AI to safeguard ethical values in digital society. And that demonstrates how blockchain's immutability, decentralization, and auditability complements AI. Adaptability for sensitive contexts. And again, my thesis is ethical AI is not possible without blockchain integration. We use sextortion as a paradigmatic high-risk use case, yeah. And but there are also broader implications. Ultimately, we want to achieve, if we think a bit further, societal resilience, and for that, AI is a very good option, yeah, provided it's tamed with the power of blockchain, yeah, to be applied in such socio-technical systems that are very critical. And yeah, we need to provide the right types of policies and technical guidance, yeah, for AI ethics implementations. Yeah, so on the one side, when it comes to future work, we are working on a prototype. So as I said in the paper, we have mapped out this extortion mitigation DAO, yeah, with Agentified AI integrated, but it's at this moment just a technical report, so it would be very good to have funding to really properly build this. We then would like to run cross-border pilots to address this fractured legal fragmentation problem and interoperability problem. Another point is to expand this to other domains, yeah, like disinformation, healthcare data misuse, cyberbullying, drug addictions, I don't know, all sorts of violence cases, extortion cases. And what is very important here is to achieve interdisciplinary collaboration. Yeah, so the scientists, the engineers, the regulators, NGOs, technologists, survivors need to co-develop ethical infrastructures. I think this is very important, and I hope this framework is a good starting point. Yes, Q&A, please.
Thank you so much, Alex. So if you want to ask a question, you can post it on the YouTube comments or in X. I was looking to, like, while we wait, to clarify. So could you, like, from the perspective of a citizen, you know, how would you explain it? So, for example, some woman, you know, she's afraid to that some content would be released, or she found some content released. So what is blockchain role in it, and how exactly it could help her?
Yeah, I mean, so the blockchain is ultimately a trust engine. Yeah. So I mean, on the one hand side, the point is here the first citizen in this framework is AI, but the enabler to achieve trust, yeah, that as a victim, I really allow myself to open up to a system, yeah, that has ultimately the purpose of streamlining and coordinating the help that comes from several parties. So if you study this a little bit, just here for in this case extortion, yeah, you have law enforcement, you have therapists, you have NGOs, you have all sorts of organizations who do something in this direction, yeah, to mitigate sextortion and to save lives, to prevent that people commit suicide because they can't handle the shame and you know, being stuck in such a terrible situation. The point is that with the blockchain, of course, with immutable traceability, you can pool rapid help together and coordinate it well, govern it in a really striking way so that you achieve immediate mitigation and help for the victim. I mean, real help to well, prevent the worst, yeah, of a suicide, and then ultimately also to catch quickly with joint forces that perpetrator, yeah. And yeah, the point is the way this is designed, yeah, there's privacy assurance, yeah, because of zero knowledge proof involvement, for example, and the data that's shared. The idea is here it goes into a wallet that's under full control of a victim, and then the victim has the power to decide to whom which data sets are disclosed for how long. Yeah.
So it's
For
like a
certain
medical
purposes.
data in a way, right?
It's
That you,
it's in a sense it is definitely, you could say, in a broader sense, a health benefiting approach. Yeah, that's definitely the intention. Suicide is definitely very unhealthy, and the terrible psychological consequences, at the least, yeah, of becoming such an sextortion victim. This has to be. It's very important that the victim feels immediately all efforts, all available resources are really streamlined, yeah, and processed in a very striking way for the benefit of that victim. And this added value has to come across, yeah, sudden added value. And I believe, so I couldn't get into the actual system design, so that's referenced, that technical report is referenced in the published journal paper, yeah. But in any case, it would be very interesting to build such a system and then to really test in real life, in pilot cases, the adoption. You know, if that succeeds, and where the factors are that are important to make such a system adoption succeed by the victims. Yeah, that's really important. So it's at this point with the theoretical work. I mean, it's a research paper. Yeah, it's ultimately a position paper. Yeah. Despite all the other hocus pocus we had to do that I couldn't get into here in the presentation to satisfy the scholarly peer reviewers, yeah. But it's a position paper. So a position paper primarily opens the cans of worms So the worms are popping out, and there's a lot of follow-up work that this paper should really stimulate, and not just academic work, but actually work that helps people in real life. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Alex, thank you so much for your work, your research.
Yeah.
Hope to dig deeper into the research and speak
it
to you
would be
more.
wonderful. It would be wonderful if this could be tried, say in the Ukraine. It would be really great, and so must not be my company, but we're certainly also available, since this all comes from the side of Norta where I shared the website. And yeah, it would be great if you could share the slides. I would be very happy for that, if you could share this with the audience. So we are fully available and approachable. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you. Bye-bye.